Hi everyone, Dr. Kinsley here, and a very pouty poodle who wants to go outside. So I'll be brief. I'm actually not going to be that brief. I really want to talk to you about secondary sources. This is a huge stumbling block. It can be so intimidating, but once you learn how to search for sources, how to think about them, how to think about keywords, how to utilize secondary sources, it's going to open up just a world of possibilities, not just for this class, but for everything you do outside of academia, just everything. It's amazing. That being said, I have seen grown humans weep in grad school over finding sources in the library, not just because they can't find sources, but just like, how do you even go about doing something like this? So do not be intimidated. We're going to take this very slowly. This first video is just sort of my general tips, how to kind of toe into this. Please do not hesitate to contact me, to ask any questions, to seek guidance, to, if you want to get together on Google Hangouts or on Zoom and kind of search for stuff together in the library, I would love that. In addition to instructing you, I am also a researcher, so this is my wheelhouse. This is what I love to do. This is a space I feel very comfortable in, very enthusiastic about. So, but we're just going to cover the very basics. You have resources in Canvas, so some of this stuff might overlap that. I'm just going to kind of go over some of the things that I think are important as you start in on this. Also, I'm including a handout here for you that this is sort of to narrow your topic, so it's help with a thesis, but also for generating keywords that you can then use in the library databases. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to go over this in a minute. Well, first I want to say, go ahead and write a short summary. When it says the topic you're interested in, that doesn't mean like, I'm profiling a yoga studio and they do yoga there and it's a good way to exercise. You want to think about, what is the deeper insight that you're showing to your audience? What are you seeing that other people would not be able to see without your help, without your evidence, without your explanation, analysis, right? So write that summary there, a few sentences. And then from there, you want to highlight sort of what you think are the important words in that. If there are no important words, then perhaps you want to, I hope that's not distracting. I don't know if you can even see her back there. Dark shadow, we call her. So go through your summary, highlight the important words. If you feel like there are no important words, then that's just an indication that you need to rewrite your summary, right? You need to kind of rethink what your purpose is, what insights you want to show. So from there, you kind of want to summarize it down to 3 words. If you need to do more, then play with that. And that's what these blocks are here, right? I keep pointing at the screen. I'm so old-fashioned. But that's what these blocks are here. From there, you want to narrow that even further, or rather, I say narrowing, it's broadening, right? But it's narrowing your thought process into these keywords. But there are synonyms for these keywords, and that's what you want to do from there. So, you know, any phrases, it doesn't have to just be synonyms, right? You don't want to just like jump onto Google and look at synonyms. You want to think like, what else do I really mean by this? So it hurts the brain, but it's worth the effort, I promise. And I want to say, I think I said this in one of my previous videos already this semester, but I have been, a researcher for, oh my goodness, it's going to be nearly a couple decades at this point. But this is the work that I do all the time. So every time I'm going to do a search, I systematically write down the keywords, write down the synonyms. Um, this is getting a little in depth, but I do think it's important at any stage of research that you write this down, record this somewhere, because databases change sometimes daily. So you may search for something with certain keywords on one day, and then a week later you go and you do the exact same search and you get completely different results. Sometimes it can happen, depending on the database, it can happen within an hour. So write down the day that you're doing it, write down the phrases you use, the databases you use, right? Like write all your pathways. It feels like a little bit of extra work, but honestly, a good analogy is, instead of crossing the street half a block, jaywalking half a block before a crosswalk, take the effort to walk to the crosswalk and cross. Like for some of us, that feels a little awkward. There's no traffic, right? But it's worth it. I don't know how strong an analogy that is, but just trust me that writing these things down, as tedious as it may seem, will serve you. So just a little bit of advice in terms of researching. Okay, that being said, so synonyms, right here, write any synonyms, phrases, etc. Those are going to be your keywords. So first we're going to use these keywords. And then I have a little bit of extra help for you here at the bottom in terms of thinking about kind of combination of searches that you can do. All right. We're going to go more in depth with this, and I'll create other videos for you where we sort of use examples as we go along, but I don't want to overwhelm you for this time. So for now, work on this worksheet. If you email this worksheet to me, and again, this is in the announcement as an attachment, so you can download it, fill it out, again, using the library databases, not Google. Library databases, which I'll introduce you to in a second. If you email this to me, filled out, I will give you an extra credit point on your secondary sources assignment. If it's just absolutely stellar, then I'll give you an extra 2 or 3 points on that assignment. So that's separate from whatever work you do on that assignment. This is just extra credit in terms of filling this out, using the library databases, narrowing your topic, playing around with keywords, right? Good practice. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions about this. If you want to meet with me and talk about how to use the databases, how to generate keywords, just email me. We can meet on Google Hangouts or on Zoom or whatever you're most comfortable with. Okay. I don't want to make this video too long, so that's the handout from here. This is the library. Oh, so beautiful. Okay. I don't know where she is. She's under the desk barking out. There's a window behind me and she's barking out the window. Sorry about that. Either that or she just really didn't like my singing. So anyway, from the beautiful library databases, I want you to go to quick links, and library guides is very helpful, but go ahead and go there if you want to and kind of look around. It could help with other classes. I'll make a separate video about that later. For now, we actually don't want to go to quick links. We're going to go to services, and we're going to go to library instruction. That makes sense, right? They have lots of wonderful resources. We're going to go to, again, course guides, very helpful. Tutorials is where I want you to go. All of these are really helpful links, and they have quizzes. I think I said this in a previous video, but I still take the quizzes just to be like, did they change anything? You know, how well am I still doing in this system? I very much love the libraries. They have so many digital resources. We are so fortunate. You know, part of your fees, part of all of our fees as students, as employees, go to, you know, a portion of them go to supporting the library, and they pay a lot of money, far more than our fees could support, for databases. And databases are of course giant search engines that hold a lot of journals, and then within those journals are other articles, and they pay a subscription fee to those databases so that they can have those journals. So all of this is, you know, supporting knowledge, supporting research, but we have access to an enormous amount of databases, to a phenomenal selection of journals of knowledge. It is amazing. ASU is remarkable in terms of the research that is available to you. So I'm gonna get off my soapbox for a moment, but I'm so in love with the ASU library. Okay, Academic Search Premier, that's my go-to. So, you know, I'm gonna do a tutorial on that later. In the meantime, you have a quiz there. They'll have a little tutorial for that. That's kind of where you can use your keywords. Sorry, checking out the poodle. Okay. Evaluating resources, you already have that on Canvas, but if you want to kind of look at that here, that would be great. Generating and using keywords, that goes really well with the worksheet. So maybe look at that. I would start here, Introduction to ASU Library. Do that if you're feeling incredibly overwhelmed. Just don't think about it, just go there. Developing a research question, that's really excellent. If you tweak it right, it'll work well for this class. Every piece of composition starts with a research question, even a text message, right? So very interesting. Introduction to university research, very good. Of course, citing sources, things that hopefully you are being introduced to as we speak. Web versus library research databases, highly suggest that one. I know a lot of you are going to want to use Google. That might work, but I think you should use the databases. The reason I think that is found in a lot of these articles here, but mostly they are peer-reviewed. So you know that they have been substantiated, that the ethos is strong, that people who know whether or not someone has done the work to produce a substantiated thought, has done that work. So that's sort of very layman's way of talking about peer-reviewed journal articles. But if you want to know more, please click here, peer-reviewed journal articles. That's going to clarify that a lot. It's just going to give you more credibility. So The last thing I'm going to say in this very long video, which I would love to make longer and talk about keywords more, but we'll do that in another video. The last thing that I want to say is most important, because I'm getting a lot of questions about finding sources, and you want to find sources about your specific group. That's not going to give you the strongest support. What you want to do is think about your topic. So let's go back, right? Think about your topic. So that's not just yoga, right? So it's not, so you might want to find sources on this particular yoga studio. That's probably not going to happen. Then you think, I'm going to find sources about yoga. That's incredibly broad. So you want to think, what is it that you want to show? Do you want to show that yoga is helpful for veterans who are experiencing PTSD, and that happens in this particular yoga studio? If you want to do that, think about veterans. Think about PTSD, think about meditation, think about movement, think about exercise, right? Like, there are so many ways you can explore your topic. It's not just the community group you're profiling. Okay, I'm gonna just remind you of this as much as possible, but that's the most important thing I can say to you in this video.